Okay, just a quick video to talk about progress on the Solstice here. So, as you can see, the whole inside of the trunk here is a fiberglass tub. And then you can see over there, the yellow metal fender is, our quarter panel is epoxied onto the top of the tub there. And then of course it's welded up at the leading edge there. So this one of course is ruined. We've got all this area here that's been busted up. So instead of trying to patch that, splicing in a new section was the goal there. So we just used a grinder here to cut that out of there. And I'll show you how the new piece fits in just a second. So for me, one of the toughest parts about a repair like this is you're looking at your patch piece here and you're looking at your hole, and how do you cut them to make sure they fit just right. So look for little things to help you. On this particular piece, you can see these lines all over the back side of it. Now they're not there for any particular reason other than that's how the mold was made. And so those are just little casting marks left over from the fiberglass mold that made this part. But they're pretty standardized, so I just made my cuts all along this line on little lines that were just like this. And that ended up doing a really good job of getting me a piece that was pretty well cut to the correct size for the hole. Never completely perfect, but you can see fits in there pretty well. Okay, so if we're gonna get this piece fiberglassed into this tub, we're gonna need to give the fiberglass patches that hold it together something to bond to. These are very smooth right here. So we're gonna use this little tool right here, which AutoZone calls a disc surface conditioner. We're going to just use it to go all around both sides of wherever this seam is in order to give us a nice rough surface that, that our fiberglass can bond to. Okay, so we're just going to take this disc here and we'll just run it over the edge. And we're just looking to get it down to where it's not that shiny finish anymore. It's just kind of this gray surface, so the fiberglass has something to bind to in there. That's pretty much it. We'll do that the whole way around. And then of course on this surface here where the epoxy came off, you can see there's a little bit of loose fibers there, so you just hit that with this. And that'll just clean all that up for you. Okay, so now we're done with all the prep on this donor piece here. You can see we just made a nice border around every surface that we're going to bond. There's a quarter panel piece of metal piece that epoxies in there. So we just go all the way around, and then all of this bonding surface at the top we've cleaned off as well. And of course the back side as well. So it's a nice, fresh area to bond with. So now that this is all prepped, how do you hold these two surfaces together so that you can put your fiberglass patch on? So what I'm using is this little device here. It's basically designed to weld sheet metal, but it works for me here too. So I'm just going to put that on every so often. It's like a little vise that holds the two sides together, and I'll show it to you in a little bit. So now you can see we've used these little clamps all along that line. And we've got it right where we want it so that we can put fiberglass patch over that. Everything fitting right into place. Okay, so we're getting ready to put some fiberglass in here. Two choices as far as what type of mat to put with the resin. So this is just your old typical fiberglass mat here. It bends fairly easily, and I think it blends easier when you're trying to sand it down and cover with paint. And then I haven't used this before, but this is fiberglass cloth right here, and you can see it's woven together like that. It's supposed to be stronger. So with a repair like this, where I'm doing parts that nobody is ever going to see on the underside of the car, I figured I'd go for strength. And it's probably a little bit less messy too, so we'll try that. Okay, so we've mixed up our resin and we've cut all these patches to just the right length that we want, like this. So we have to saturate the patch. Sort of just scrape away the excess here. We'll lift our patch up onto here. And just sort of press it down. Make sure it's nice and flush. I've got a little roller here, but this particular strip is so thin, I'm not going to need it too much, but you can use a roller to get all the bubbles out of there. We'll put the next one right here. Just it'll kind of wick its way up there. Make sure you get enough, but not too much. Scrape away a little bit of excess there, and then just goes right in there. Make sure you don't leave any parts hanging off. You're gonna have to grind off later, like I'm dealing with right there. So that one, I kind of wish I could move the whole patch. So I just grab it, pull it this way a bit. So you don't really want it to bond to these metal clamps here if I can help it. And I get an equal amount of that patch on each side. And you can see, I don't know if you can see on the video or not, but there's little white, it leaves little white bubbles. So do this patch next back here. And we cut this one to make sure we fit back here in this particular gap right there. make sure we squeeze all those bubbles out. And then our next one right here. Squeeze a little bit of excess off there. And that patch is made to fit just right in there. Again, squeeze all those bubbles out. Okay, so now, so you can see here the places where those metal clamps are. We've got all of our metal clamps out of the way now. We've got about half of the area we need to fiberglass in. So we're going to fill in the gaps now. And see where that leaves us. Even with only about half of that, fiberglass in, you can see it's already very sturdy. So it'll be even more so once we finish those patches.